My mind was a battlefield. One side meticulously charted the course to the stars, designing engines of fire that defied gravity. The other delved into forbidden texts, seeking ancient forces to reshape reality itself. The world saw a contradiction, a madman. But to me, they were twin paths to the ultimate truth. To pierce the veil of the unknown, one needed both science and sorcery. For I was John Whiteside Parsons, though the whispers in the desert and the voices from beyond knew me simply as Jack. And I was the Rocket Mage. Born in 1914 in the gilded cages of Pasadena, California, I was a dreamer. While others played with toys, I devoured the pulp science fiction of my age. Verne, Wells, Burroughs. My imagination soared far beyond Earth, picturing rockets blazing trails to distant moons and stars. My formal education was lacking, shall we say. I was a dropout, a self-taught savant. But what I lacked in diplomas, I made up for in raw, unbridled obsession. If a problem resisted conventional thought, I would simply invent a new way to solve it. By the early 1930s, the dream of rocketry was still largely confined to fiction. But a few of us, a small band of outcast engineers and chemists, believed it could be real. We met at Caltech, a motley crew. Our experiments too dangerous, too loud, too explosive for any respectable laboratory. The local press, with a mix of fear and fascination, dubbed us the Suicide Squad. Our laboratory was the Arroyo Seco, a dry riverbed in the foothills. There, amidst the dust and rattlesnakes, we mixed our volatile concoctions, sometimes failing spectacularly, sometimes achieving a flicker of the power we sought. Each explosion, each near disaster was a lesson, and each successful launch, however small, was a glimpse of destiny. It was during these furious years of experimentation, while wrestling with the intractable problem of making a stable, powerful rocket fuel, that my other great obsession took root. The occult. I had always felt a pull to the mystical, but now science itself seemed to hit a wall. Conventional physics could explain the how, but not the why of existence. That's when I found Aleister Crowley, the self-proclaimed Great Beast 666, and his philosophy of thelema. Crowley taught that humanity was on the cusp of a new age, an eon of Horus, where individuals would truly discover their true will. This wasn't about worshipping demons. It was about unlocking latent power within, manipulating the subtle energies of the universe. To me, it was a science of the soul, just as rocketry was a science of propulsion. Both aimed to transcend boundaries. My scientific and spiritual pursuits began to mirror each other. The quest for more potent propellants mirrored the quest for more potent rituals. I became obsessed with creating a stable, castable solid rocket fuel, something unheard of at the time. Traditional rocket fuels were either too unstable or too inefficient. My breakthrough, born from countless dangerous experiments, combined asphalt and potassium perchlorate, then added aluminum powder for more thrust. It was simple, yet revolutionary. It was a fuel that could be molded, stored, and unleashed with incredible power. This was it, the key. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, was born from our wild desert experiments, and my solid fuel became the bedrock of modern rocketry, leading directly to the rocket engines that would propel America's early space efforts, and ultimately, the lunar missions. But as my star rose in the world of science, my descent into the occult deepened. I moved into a large mansion in Pasadena, dubbed the Parsonage, and it became a hub for artists, bohemians, and Crowley's followers. Here, amidst the scent of incense and the hum of scientific apparatus, we conducted elaborate rituals. My personal life became as volatile as my fuels. I believed that through sex magic, through intense ritual workings, I could manifest actual changes in the world, even give birth to elemental entities. This conviction led to the most infamous period of my life, the Babylon working. I sought to bring forth a goddess, an ultimate elemental force, to usher in Crowley's new age. In 1946, I began a series of intense rituals, using my will and the power of sympathetic magic. I needed a scarlet woman, a ritual partner, and I found one in Marjorie Cameron, an artist and poet of striking intensity. At the same time, a new figure entered my life. L. Ron Hubbard, a charismatic science fiction writer, who saw himself as a fellow explorer of the unknown. He became my closest confidant, my magical partner. We believed we were creating a homunculus, a magical child through our combined will. The Babylon working culminated in a series of powerful rituals, meditations, and sexual magic, all recorded in detail. Hubbard was present for much of it, ostensibly as my assistant. Yet while I was consumed by my magical endeavors, Hubbard had other plans. He was a grifter, a con artist in the making. He disappeared with my money, a substantial portion of my inheritance, and, worse, with my lover, my sister-in-law Sarah Northrup. It was a devastating betrayal, a shattering of my magical circle and my personal life. I launched a desperate pursuit, both physical and magical, convinced I could reclaim what was mine. I even attempted a banishing ritual to bring him back, but to no avail. The dream of Babylon and my earthly finances were gone. The authorities, already suspicious of my unconventional lifestyle and association with Crowley, took notice. My security clearance, once vital to the burgeoning space program, was revoked. I, who had laid the groundwork for America's rockets, was now considered a national security risk. I was cut off from JPL, from the very future I had helped create. Stripped of my work, my inheritance, and betrayed by those I trusted, I spiraled into a deeper, more desperate phase of my magical studies, retreating from the scientific world that had once been my home. My end came on June 17, 1952, just 37 years old, in my home laboratory. Amidst my esoteric books and volatile chemicals, an explosion ripped through the building. My body was found, charred and dismembered. The official verdict was accidental death, a careless mistake while working with fulminate of mercury. But the whispers persisted. Was it truly an accident? Or had a ritual finally catastrophically succeeded? Had I, in my quest to tear open the veil, simply torn myself apart? I reached for the stars and I reached into the abyss. They say I found both. They say I lost myself in the process. Perhaps. But I glimpsed a universe few ever dared to imagine. For I was John Whiteside Parsons,